now we have Andrew Sims. He's co-director of the New Weather Institute. And over to you. Please step on. You have your 5 minutes.
Absolutely terrifying judges. So straight in. We know that rapid and socially just change is necessary. So why is the climate still changing faster than we are? Well, one reason is that people get a very different message all day, every day from advertising that suggests we can carry on as we are. It's bizarre. In the middle of a climate emergency, why are we surrounded by adverts for heavily polluting, high carbon products and lifestyles that make the emergency worse? There was a time, not that long ago actually, when tobacco companies used doctors to promote smoking in adverts. But smoking was killing people, just as the climate crisis is now. Tobacco companies knew about the health impacts for decades, but resisted and lobbied against action. They deliberately undermined the science and used sophisticated PR to prevent public awareness of smoking's health impacts. And then their ads were banned. It's the same playbook used by the fossil fuel industries now. They knew decades ago about their climate impacts, but sowed doubt and lobbied against action. Now, the fossil fuel and high carbon industries, I think, are the new tobacco. Each year, an estimated 8.7 million people die from the pollution from burning fossil fuels. How big is the problem? Open any magazine, go on public transport, watch a sports match on TV, and there are adverts everywhere for SUVs, for airlines, and for oil companies pretending to be more green than they are. Car makers spent an estimated $35.5 billion on advertising in major global markets in 2018. Ford are thought to have allocated 85% of their ad budget that year to SUVs and trucks. Following heavy promotion by vehicle makers in less than a decade, SUVs, the most polluting kind of car, went from being just 1 in 10 of new car sales to over 4 in 10. It's out of control. In the UK, there were 150,000 cars sold in 2019 that were too big for a standard parking space. What was the result? SUVs were the second largest contributor to the increase in global CO2 emissions between 2010 and 2018, after the power sector, but ahead of heavy industry and aviation. Driving even an average modern car, just 500 meters, emits enough carbon dioxide to melt 1 kilogram of glacier ice. Now, sadly, advertising works. One recent estimate looking at the degree to which global car and airline advertising increased demand suggests that for 2019, it could be responsible for somewhere between 200 million and 600 million tons of CO2. Somewhere between the emissions of the Netherlands or twice those of Spain. The message isn't getting through. Car makers have cheated on emissions on an epic scale and lobbied against action. The airline's Fly Net Zero plan literally ignores half of aviation's climate impact and imagines that flight numbers can double by 2050. Sometimes it just gets kind of ridiculous. The football club Manchester United recently launched a scheme to encourage fans to recycle plastic bottles. Their reward was free air miles from their sponsor, the airline Etihad. But the very high-profile nature of advertising and sponsorship means that change is possible. When the footballer Ronaldo removed a Coke bottle in a press conference, it took $4 billion off Coke's share value. And steps are being taken. France is requiring car adverts to carry environmental warnings and also make them promote walking, cycling, and take public transport instead. Amsterdam and 5 other Dutch cities have banned public ads for fossil fuels and cars and airlines. UK councils are following suit. There is now a European citizens' initiative for a new EU law modelled on the tobacco law that would ban fossil fuel ads, and it's raised over 200,000 signatures. Given the challenge facing other climate measures, simply removing the pressure from advertising that pushes us to consume additional polluting products should prove an attractive option for policymakers. Now, of course, stopping ads won't prevent people buying things, but it will reduce demand and the cultural normalization of the harm. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we need to stop advertising our own self-destruction. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrew. You actually had almost 20 seconds left.
Shall I keep going?
No, Andrew, no, Andrew.
So I'd like to start with you again, Ishwata, since you have the behavioral science background.
Well, fantastic presentation. You stuck to time, so you know you're not going to lose any points from Ingmar on that. Are you following, first of all, not-for-profit or for-profit?
Not-for-profit.
Okay. And are you following the similar playbook of what transpired since with tobacco?
Well, in the sense that we think there is a clear precedent from the idea that public harm from a product we should not be promoting products which cause understood public harm. Yes.
So you would actually, the same way that the pressure was put onto policymakers to eventually ban the adverts, that's the idea of what this institute is going to get behind and support.
Of evidence from studying the effect of the ban on tobacco ads and the changing of the nature of the warnings, so that we think we're standing on really solid research ground.
So you're ready to take on Edelman?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
How about Nick Nuttall? You have worked in communications.
Yeah, I've got at home an ad from Standard Oil. You know that one that became ExxonMobil, I think, which proudly states how many glaciers they can melt from their production of oil burning. This is from the 1950s or 60s, so not much has changed. I love this campaign. I've actually signed up for it, so I'm a bit of it's an easy sell to me, really. I only thing is, I wonder whether it shouldn't be against something. Sometimes it's fun to be against things, but sometimes it's good to be for things. Maybe it should be a campaign for free ads for all the people that want to show what we can do to fight climate change, and just charging those oil companies more and more and more to advertise. It's a different way of flipping the debate.
As they say in the trade, I'm glad you said that, because part of the campaign is when we're removing those sort of billboards, those adverts you've got no choice over looking at, creating spaces for communal art, for bringing people together in high streets, and we actually do takeovers of billboards where we invite the community in and ask them what they would like to have instead.
Thank you, Andrew. Sergio, did you Google this time, or it was crystal clear?
Oh, I Googled, and the funny thing is that, Andrew, I don't know if you know, but you have an auto dealership called Andrew Sims Trucks and Cars, which is ironic.
My evil twin.
You know, I come from the advertising space my entire life. I have a foundation that focuses on how we use media data technology for good. I live and breathe this space, and I think that you're as someone from this space, I think your approach is going to get limited traction because of the way the ad industry works. And I think that part of some of the suggestions that should be would be say, hey, well, instead of spending this money into advertising, create funds and structures that are putting those funds into and promoting doing good and actually reinvesting and fixing what has been done wrong. So I just, my question is, and I went to your New Climate Solutions website, and I saw that that there is a couple of different initiatives here, and this is related to the Climate Chaos initiative, advertising climate chaos. Is that what that is?
Well, one of the really good things is actually there's a number of initiatives now within the advertising industry where certain agencies are saying that they will not take those kind of briefs anymore. So there's a movement within the industry, and we're also pushing the regulators so that they can actually take this as part of their remit. So we're coming at it from as many sides as we can think of.
Thank you. Let's go to a vote. Let's start with Ingmar.
I'm used to work helping customers doing ads. It's very profitable. People pay a lot of money to sell a lot of stuff. And it works. I mean, you market, you promote big cars, people buy them. And it's also correlation. If you have a little bit trouble with your product, you put some more marketing to boost the sales. And that's what fossil fuel companies are going to do now. It's like the death spiral, because they can't afford market them because the alternative will be much better. So I give 5 love for this because I truly believe that communication works, and I mean, it's insane to advertise a lifestyle that are destroying our life. It's a no-brainer.
Thank you,
and it was
Ingmar.
a good presentation.
Thank you, Ingmar. Boaz, how many hearts, please?
I echo Ingmar's words. I think this is an absolutely essential part of the whole fighting the crisis. We absolutely need to stop these advertisements. I work in communication my whole life. I know the power of communication and advertisement. And banning fossil fuel products and companies that use them is absolutely needed, and they needed to happen yesterday. So 5 for me.
Thank you. Sergio, please.
Yes, I'm also going to go with a 5, obviously, because this is what I live and breathe. And I just think that you could evolve your thinking to come up with solutions, right? Like, we don't have time, and we need those solutions that are going to give them a reason to actually collaborate and to start to go towards that path. But I love what you're doing, and what I really enjoyed was your passion. Because you really made that fit and you still had 20 seconds.
Thank you, Sergio. Nick.
Yeah, well, I know Andrew, and I've always admired his passion. So I will give it 5 too, but with a small little asterisk next to it, which is, I'm sure it's good to show the SUVs, but as we saw from Nigel Topping earlier on the show today, the electric car revolution really is taking off big time. And I think maybe the airlines might be a better target. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Shutta?
Way to clean up, Andrew. Nice. 5 from me, too, especially if you have our logo across one of these billboards that you co-create with the community. I think, look, we've seen it work with big tobacco. We need to accelerate it with the fossil fuel industry. And let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew Sims, and best of luck.